I think the exciting thing for vaping for independent retailers is it's still growing. What we have seen is the loss of tobacco revenue is transitioning into vaping and nicotine alternative products, which is really exciting for retailers because the revenue is transferring, but also the margin is, and margin is so important for those retailers. I think additionally to that is we now see the total market share of vaping, 60% sits within independent convenience, which shows how important independent convenience has become to this category. Yeah, I think the growth is going to come from transitioning that tobacco revenue into vaping products, and that'll give the retailers increased revenue, but again, increased margin. And then I think trying to repurpose those stores to have dual purpose with their fixturing behind the counter, so that will house their vaping products and their tobacco. Having something like that will give them the opportunity to showcase and present their products to allow that transition to be smoother. The government looking at the category in a whole is a really positive thing. I think looking at flavour bans would be detrimental to the category. If we look at the data for vaping, what we do see is one of the first things to return to a smoker is their taste buds, and very quickly they are then looking for flavours to support their transition from combustible cigarettes to vaping products. I think putting a flavour ban in would be detrimental to that transition from smoking to vaping. I think the regulation and the legislation behind it is simple to understand if you're an expert in it. What we have to do, our responsibility as brand and distributors, is to support the retailers with the education so they can understand it. It's still a relatively young category in its current form for the independent channel. What we need to do is make sure we're supporting them through this transition. Underage vaping is one of the biggest concerns and focuses for many of the reputable brands, distributors and retailers. I think what we need to do is invest in heavier fines for retailers that break those regulations and serve to minors. I think introducing in-store audits from a compliance perspective to try and highlight to retailers when they are serving underage people how they look for those signs, implementing Challenge 25, supporting them with education and training to make sure they're looking for the signs to prevent underage sales, and if they do fall foul, how we can help them to make sure they can improve moving forward. Yeah, so our objective is to get as many waste recycling solutions across FMCG. That'll be across independent convenience, grocery multiples and symbol operators. Our plan is to have one in every touch point across the UK. We will launch that over the next 3 to 6 months across about 1,000 retailers to test and learn the process and the programme. Once we understand that data and we've looked into how we can improve it, we'll then go for a mass rollout. Again, there's a collective responsibility for the brands to support recycling and invest in that, also from distributors and retailers to make sure that they are supporting from the beginning until the end of that process, and also supporting recycling agencies with them trying to understand the process for recycling disposable vaping products. I think putting aside the product mix that we've got, which is great for retailers, I think what we can give retailers is comfort that the products are compliant and meet the regulation requirements, so they're not going to fall foul of any regulation issues. I think that our pricing is competitive to allow retailers to maximise their margin. We will have a recycling solution to support these retailers to make sure they're meeting their obligations on sustainability. And also we have one of the largest field teams in the UK to be able to support retailers with education, new brand development, and also just their transition from combustible sales into vaping sales.